Hello.
Hi, Mom.
Hi. We're going to play with our dollies now. Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies and
Dave from the Golden Chin.
This time we are coming back at you with another battle report, but this time it's on something a little bit different. We're going to be having our first foray into the Kill Team universe. Games Workshop very kindly sent us out the new Into the Darkness box set. We've already had painting tutorials for both of the battle or the kill teams and the scenery on the channel, but now it's time to see how the game actually plays. So we are very much looking forward to getting stuck in and learning the rules.
We're a little bit terrified. Let's just roll dice and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm sure nothing wrong with it. Like, our battle reports are always completely perfect with rules. Okay guys, bear with us. Our first game of Kill Team. We will do our best to follow some form of rules, but we'll be mostly trying to have fun. I know it's a strange concept, but yeah, we will be trying to enjoy ourselves and have fun with the game.
We are going to be playing with the slightly stripped down version of the rules, so we're not going into the strategic ploys or the more advanced special rules. We're just going to be trying to wrap our heads around the basics of how you move, how you shoot, and more importantly, how you make sure those Navy Breachers stay dead, good and dead. And so, you know, for the greater good and all that.
No. Kroot and then shotguns. It's like turkey season.
Round 1, fight.
Okay, rolling off for the deployment priority, Majigger. So rolling off, Dave gets a 5, so he gets to choose.
I think in this case I will be the attacker because I think it makes more sense that the Navy men are defending the breach. So Andy has set up his Imperial Navy Breachers all ready to drive directly down the corridors and seize control of the various pieces of machinery needed to establish a foothold within the Gallowdark. I have set up my Kroot Stalker warband, ready to try and take advantages of the fields of fire and sneak up some of my stealthier, more close combat derived models and get them stuck into the Imperial Navy Breachers.
We are playing mission 1 of the new Into the Darkness box set. It's called Reinforced Chamber, and it's basically both sides who are stranded aboard the Gallowdark are trying to find somewhere secure to set up base. The entire board is the Reinforced Chamber, so the idea is to control the 3 rooms as we go through. So whoever controls each room by the end will gain 2 victory points, so 2 for each section. And then also we need to turn on some of the ancient machinery which will help us survive. So there's 8 pieces of scenery that we need to move in and activate, and each one of those will give us 1 victory point as well. Okay, so I'm going to activate my first operative. First thing I'm going to do is swing open the door. So I'm going to move these guys out of the way while I do it. One of my favorite pieces of kit involved in this is the actual fact that the door is open and closed. And I'm going to move my Navis Cat unit, which has a movement of 4, which means it can move basically 8 inches. I'm just going to switch to a normal measuring tape because this. So 8 inches will actually bring him right up to the objective.
So my first activation, I'm going to start with the Kroot warrior here, who I'm going to flip over showing he's activated. He's going to spend 1 activation point to open the door, and then he is going to dash through into cover to start lining up shots as needs be for future turns on the Navismen as they start coming in through the far door. And then because I can activate 2 of my Kroot warriors in a turn, I'm going to do the same over here. So opening again the next to the old rusty doors into the Gallowdark. Kroot warrior takes position on sort of on Overwatch, looking down the hall, ready to unleash fire on whatever might come through those doors next.
I made a slight mistake already. So turn 1, I didn't realize that it requires an activation point to open the door, which I did with my cat, which is of course wrong. So I'm going to count this guy as having used 1 of his activation points to open the door, and then he's going to move 6 inches through to kind of follow up to where the cat is. And that's going to finish him. So we can just pretend they did that in the opposite order. He went through first and then the cat came through now, and that should balance out my silly mistakes. That is my second model moved. It's back over to Dave to move another one.
Okay, and now that I can start to see the push as to where stuff is starting to come through here, I think I'm going to do an old Monty Burns on it.
Release the hound.
Oh, no.
So I can activate both these guys here, and I'm going to have both of them move at full speed up to the objective to try and contest that.
Okay, so being quite jealous of how much Dave is trying to take over this thing, I'm going to have my 2 Navy Breachers. Now they are GA2, so I can move both of those and activate both of them at the same time. So I'm going to start with the first one. He's going to move 6 inches to here. So there will be no shooting, so I'll use my second thing to activate this piece of machinery and claim the first victory point for the Navy Breachers. I'm allowed to do that, I'm a type.
You are indeed, yeah. What are you going to do with your second breacher?
He's going to follow through pretty much the same as the first, moving up to join his comrade in arms. And obviously he cannot shoot or anything like that because, well, we can't see anything except this guy. So I can draw a line of sight to one side of his base so I can shoot you, but you are in cover. Okay, so let's do that. My second action will be to shoot. I will be using my long range shotgun, which has 4 dice. It hits on 5s. Boom! I managed to get 1 crit and 3 misses. My crit was 2 damage unless you can block it with your defense dice.
Okay.
So defense dice on a standard Kroot, defense 3. So you get 3 defense dice and they're 5+ to save you.
Okay.
But you need a 6 because it's a crit.
Okay.
That brings me to the end of that activation for my guys.
So now time to take stock. I think I've activated everything really that can get in on this side of the board. So now it's time to open up, I think, the central avenue. So I'm going to have my trooper with the sniper longbow open the door, and he's going to move up into cover here.
Let's just call it a bowcaster.
It's a bowcaster. Yeah, there's no point in kidding ourselves. One of the cooler models in the set. So that's going to be my next activation, and then I'm going to hand it back over to you, Andy.
The commander is going to boot the door off the hinges, and then he's going to rush in here and take cover behind this piece here. Obviously I think I can shoot at you, but he's got a las pistol, so my guess is that it's probably, I know most guns are unlimited range, but I don't think that's the case for this guy.
Well, in this case, because he opened the door with an action point and then moved.
Oh yeah, there you're correct. The door, opening the door, apologies. Yeah, I need to get that in my head that opening the door is an activation. So my sergeant is finished for this activation phase.
Next, I'm going to activate my heavy gunner with his arbalist, so he lines up the shot on the commander, having just pushed his way into the central chamber.
That's rude.
I'm going to fire off some shots and see if I can do some damage. So, the arbalist has, or tribalist I should even say, 5 attacks, so 5 shots. And these are going to be hitting on 4+. So I managed to hit 2, no critical hits, nothing too crazy. So what is the defense of the commander?
So my Imperial Armsman has 3 defense dice. But of course I can immediately spend 1 to count as a success because I'm in cover. And then how many successes did you actually?
So I got 2 successes.
Okay, so I've got 2 more options to try and stop it, and I've got 4+ save because of my void armor. So I'm safe. My beautiful Novice Sergeant at Arms is safe and sound.
Totally fine. Very cool. And then that ends with that activation for this guy. I'm gonna stick him there. He's gonna hold his position, and that's gonna be his job done for this turn.
The next one I'm going to activate is the Novice Endurant.
The riot shield, dude.
The guy with that big space shield. He's going to bust through the door, take cover behind this, even though he's walking cover with his shield. And he's going to fire off his heavy shotgun down the corridor at the Kroot with the bowcaster. So I'm going to fire it off now. He's got a heavy shotgun, which is 4 shots. Long range hits on 5+. Manages to score 2 hits, one of them being a crit. And then of course you have your 3 defense dice?
3 defense dice, yeah. So
you can spend 1 immediately to count as a success to get rid of the 5.
Which I will, and then I'll roll the 2 remaining dice to try and negate the 6. Which I fail to do. What damage does that do?
So because it's the long range, it's only 2 damage on that particular Kroot.
Okay, cool. So next, my Kroot Cutskin is going to open the door.
It's called a Cutskin?
He's called a Cutskin.
That's awesome.
So, and with both his sort of kukri knives.
You made him not awesome, now it's kukri knives.
No, kukri, it's that like hooked blade, kind of long.
Oh, I thought you just couldn't say cook properly.
No.
You're like those old grannies who are like, I've got me kook book.
Hey, we're Kroot. We like cooking things up.
Kroot.
Yeah, it just happens to be something other than steak that we're cooking up.
That is true, fair.
So I'm going to move him up to cover, And so he's opened the door, and then he uses his other point to move up into cover, and he's got the conceal, so he'll be able to stay hidden. And then it is back over to Andy.
Very good. Going to boot the door off the hinges once again on the Novice Grenadier. So one of his activations was to do that, and his second activation is going to move in and take cover behind this console thing here that he has to claim next turn, and that's going to be the end of my turn.
Very good. I'm going to say thank you for opening the door, because now my Kroot sniper.
No, I didn't even see him down there.
Long rifle. I'm going to activate him next, so he's going to adjust his aim slightly, and he's going to take aim down the corridor at the unfortunate naval rating, getting ready to follow in suit.
My Nava's hatch cutter is about to get shot in the face.
So let me check and see what a sniper rifle does from a Kroot. I'm going to guess not pleasant things. So lining up the shot, fires off a quick burst with 3 shots,
Jeez.
managing 2 critical hits and a successful hit. That's a pretty good round of shooting from my long shot.
So would you count him as in cover from you with the, you wouldn't be able to see the...
So I think he does count as in cover. He probably throws himself against the wall as he feels the shots coming in.
So I get to use one of my defense dice to cancel out that 4, but then I will still have to roll twice and pray for 6s, which I don't get either of, so unfortunately 2 3s come smashing through and cause 6 damage to my hatch cutter. He only has 7 wounds left, so he's actually down to his last wound.
He goes down as being wounded now as well,
indeed.
so we'll stick a wounded token on him.
Okay, so I'm going to move this gentleman here. Obviously the hatch is already open, so he's going to come charging through 6 inches. He's going to aim down the sights with his shotgun and open fire at the Kroot at the end of the corridor. And once again, he is long range, so he does get 4 shots, but it's going to be 5 to do anything to him. So unfortunately only 1 goes through. It is a
critical hit though.
Critical hit though.
So let's see if I manage to critically save myself. And unfortunately I don't, so it goes straight through.
And you take 2 wounds from that.
Alrighty. For my next activation, I'm going to take my Kroot Pistolier, the dual-toting gunslinger. He's going to swivel up to the wall, and he's going to take aim at the naval rating, who is trying to power on the machine on the far side, who will of course get cover because he is quite well concealed behind it. But I'm going to draw my pistols and fire off some shots and see what damage I can do with those. Of course, unfortunately, I then went to check the range, and as badass as he looks with his swirling cape, he is actually still carrying pistols, and just firing them down the length of the corridor isn't going to be enough to reach the axe-wielding maniac. So instead, I'm going to have him complete his move and move into cover behind the other 2 troopers here instead.
So to finish off my first turn, I'm going to move my Novice door cutter, and I'm just going to move and dash him. So he's actually going to go 8 inches to here, which will of course use the rest of his wounds, and I'll be finished then. And that brings an end to the Navy Breachers activation, except for firing Overwatch, if you guys have still stuff to fire and move.
Which indeed I do. I still have 2 activations to go. Oh, sorry, no, I only have 1 activation left because I already fired my sniper rifle. So it is just my stalker that is left, my little ninja dude, and we're going to activate him, and he's going to move up at full speed. She was there, so I think I'll do is I'll move him up to here.
So we'll use our proper measuring device.
Measuring tool, so it moves to the door. And then he can move.
Oh, hold this bit.
If you would be so kind, sir.
And then does he want to use a dash?
And then I'm going to have him dash up into cover.
Beautiful.
Beside the same. And that is going to bring my turn to a close as well. All the doors have been kicked open. The battle has well and truly been joined in the Gallowdark. And Andy has managed to power on one of the devices, bringing it to 1 victory point to the Imperial Navy.
Damn right.
Round 2, fight.
So we're going to roll off for priority. I got a 4.
I got a 6. So I will indeed take the advantage, and I'll start pressing the attack in the Gallowdark now. So we'll come back once we've assigned all our orders, and then it'll be into my first activation. Again, my Kroot Longshot is going to take aim at the naval rating with his shotgun powering down like a boss through the corridor. So I'm going to see if I can't take him out of the fight. So firing off 3 rounds from my sniper rifle. I only managed to find my mark with 2 of the shots, unfortunately, though.
So I am in open cover, so I'm not going to get any sort of benefits, but I do have 3 defense dice and a 4+, I protect myself. So unfortunately, no. So 2 of your shots do go through, and I believe that's 6 damage.
That is 6 damage to that particular guardsman.
Another guy brought down to 1 wound in this corridor by that sniper. So far that sniper is the MVP, I think.
Oh, he's doing work. He's putting his hours in. Well done. We'll make sure you get a decent chunk of the feeding at the end of this inevitable slaughter.
Okay, so I'm going to begin by the first action of my turn 2 is activate both of these Navy Armsmen. So this guy has already activated this, so this machine is already mine. So the first thing he's going to do is he's going to move to here, and he is going to aim at the Kroot Hound in front of him, and he is going to fire his shotgun at short range for the first time. I'm sure this is going to be incredibly pleasant for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Close range shotgun is 4 dice, but they wound on a 3+ as opposed to a 5+. Boom! 4 wounds on the Kroot Hound. One of them is a crit.
Ooh, right, I better see what kind of save a Kroot Hound has. I can't imagine it's going to be all that impressive.
Kroot Hound has a defense of 3 and a save of 5+.
Okay, so
you save
saves
1,
but 3 of them go through.
So a crit and 2 normal ones go through, which I believe gives you 9 damage.
You know what you just did though, right?
I killed a puppy.
Yeah, you just John Wicked it.
Yeah, we'll see. And the second Voidsman will do pretty much exactly the same thing. He's going to move up, and he's going to try and take out the other pest in the corridors. 2 hits and no crits. So you get your defense dice 5+.
Okay, so let's
Try and
see
save yourself.
what we can do.
So no, so you take 6 damage from those 2 shotgun blasts.
Ugh.
And I'll see how many wounds a Kroot Hound actually has.
Feeling he might be.
7 wounds, so he's left with 1 wound remaining.
So we're gonna mark that off there, and we will give him a wounded token. It's okay. Good dog. Good dog. So I'm going to start over here on the left-hand side. So one warrior spins out from cover, or rather just realigns his shot, and is going to look to put down the guardsman that had the temerity to aim his rifle in anger at the lovable Kroot Hound. So the Kroot rifle, I believe, fires 3 shots.
You're wrong, and fire effects 4 shots.
Even better again. So firing off 4 shots, hitting on 4s. Ooh, much better. So 3 misses, but one of them was in fact a critical hit.
Okay, so I will attempt to use my 3 defense dice if Dave would stop hogging the dice, and all I need to do is roll 1/6 to save myself, which I did.
On the far side, I'm going to have the other Kroot warrior take aim at one of the wounded. I'm going to see, can I see the wounded guardsman on the far side? I can. He is going to get some cover save, but I'm going to try and pop the last wound on the cutter and see if I can't take him out. So again,
Which guy's the shooting?
So this is the other Kroot warrior here.
Oh yeah, you can definitely see.
And he's going to take a pot shot at this guy and try and put him down. Take the last wound.
Oh, Jesus.
So critical hit and 1 regular hit.
So I once again get my 3 void saves, and one of these needs to be a 6, and one of these needs to be armor.
But he's in cover, so you can't denote one of those just because of the angle. He could clearly duck in behind that machine.
Oh yeah, so I can spend 1. So I just need, on these 2 dice, I need a 6 to stay alive.
Correct.
Which I did not get, and of course a Navy Armsman goes down. I'm going to follow through. This guy's going to use his activations to move to here. And he's going to finish off the last Kroot Hound, he hopes, with his glorious shotgun blast. So you managed to score 2 crits and a direct hit on your poor Kroot Hound with 1 wound left.
Ooh, I don't feel confident right now.
You shouldn't, he's dead.
Yeah, another Kroot Hound taken out of the fight. Next, the assassin with his hook knives is going to duck out from combat, and he's going to slip around the side of his kinsman and make a charge move to take down the breacher, and then I'm going to spend my second action point to engage the fight. So this will be the first combat we have in this game of Kill Team. So let us just refresh ourselves on how fighting actually works in this game.
So Dave may have chosen the wrong fight as he's decided to try and mess with the guy who cuts through bulkheads for a living. But I'm fairly sure I will also die in this, but I have a good feeling I'll take some wounds off him, so let's see what I can do. So I get a crit, and that's all. The rest are misses, so he's going to need a crit to cancel it out, which he doesn't get.
And I only managed one hit, so I'm going to push that wound through, so it does.
I do indeed
wound
die.
And it kills him, but then he does the crit damage in return to me.
Which does 6 wounds.
6 wounds. Ugh.
Yeah.
So I think the Kroot Hunter or Stalker or whatever this guy's name is again.
He is a something. Yep. He's absolutely, definitely, 100% a stalker.
I wasn't too far off then.
Yeah.
And the Stalker has how many wounds?
Stalker has 8, so he's got 2 left.
2 wounds remaining. I'll just
take my wounds as I take my
I'll
poor breacher away.
And that leaves him as unactivated. Alrighty, not too bad at all.
I'm going to attempt. I do have line of sight, yeah. So you're going to be in cover, but that doesn't really make much of a difference, as I think I can take the last 2 wounds off you with my shotgun.
I'd be fairly certain you can.
So one activation is to activate the machine, and then the second one is to open fire. Only one actually goes through. I think it's, oh no, it's 3s in close range. So 2 wounds go through that guy.
Okay, so he has a 5 up defense, I think. Definitely not a 3 up defense anyway, so that's going to be
6 wounds, so he's blown from his feet.
So he is very much dead. One more Kroot gone to the big buffet in the sky.
So that Navy Breacher dropped a Kroot and claimed an objective point all in one turn.
Pretty good, so that's 2 objective points to you so far.
That is 2 for me, yep.
I better start turning on some machines myself. Speaking of, I'm going to... now the question is, don't really have to do anything with this guy. I can leave him till a little while because nothing is really happening over here. So I think I'm going to take advantage of the time I have, and I'm going to use the bowcaster, and he's going to fire a shot at the commander behind cover. So I'm going to line up the shot. So the bowcaster fires 4 attacks, I believe.
I wish I could tell you, buddy. I don't even know what guy carries a bowcaster. That guy.
So the bow hunter fires 4 shots. So again, hitting on 4s. So he manages a crit and a normal hit. Not so bad.
So with my 3 defense, I get to use 1 to cancel out his 5 immediately. Then I have 2 dice to hopefully roll a 6 to save myself from the last, which I do not get. So I get the heavy, which is 5 damage on that, which I think brings my beautiful boss down to, I think, 3 wounds. I think he's got 8. He has 8, so he is in fact seriously wounded with 3 wounds remaining.
Not bad. And then I'm going to have him with his remaining move, or his remaining activation. He's going to move up to the generator and hunker down in cover. And that is his activation done for the turn.
Back. So we accidentally made a mistake with this. Realizing that he was in concealment, so couldn't actually be shot. So we're going to leave the dice rolls stand. So Dave did manage to cause 1 crit and 1 normal wound. We're going to shift it across to the guy with the shield next to him. He gets 3 defense dice. Of course, he's in cover, so he gets to cancel out 1. And the 2 still require to roll 6s to stop anything. So no. So he will still take 5 wounds, but he has 10 wounds himself. So he goes down to 5, but is not wounded.
He's a bit of a tank.
He's a bit of a monster, all right.
Bit of a walking tank.
Okay, so I'm going to advance with my entrant, or whatever he's called. So it's going to cost me 1 circle to go across the barricade, which will leave him 2 circles of movement left. So 1, 2, and I'm going to fire off my heavy shotgun at the pistolier guy behind the barricade there.
Unfortunately, he is in concealment, so you won't be able to target either him or the knife-wielding maniac.
I guess I'll have to shoot the guy behind him, who is your boss.
I shouldn't have opened my mouth, should I?
Yeah, I don't think opening your mouth was a particularly good idea in this instance.
Not especially, no.
But anyway, we'll fire on and see what happens. So he's got a heavy shotgun, and at long range, it is going to be 5 to hit with his 4 shots. So I do manage to score 2 hits. You'll of course get your Kroot Shaper save.
Yep, so he has a defense, I know, of 3. I just need to check what his save is.
5 plus.
So 5 up and a defense save of 3. So 5 up save, so he passes 1, but 1 goes through. How much damage does that do?
1. And when I'm in long range, it's not very good.
So you've more just pissed him off than anything else.
I just need to start whittling him down, to be honest.
So that plinks a wound onto the Kroot Shaper. Next activation, I'm going to take my Skin Shaper.
Sure.
Skin Cutter, that's the one. And I'm going to have him hop the barricade for 1. And then he has his 2 remaining ones to get up to the barrels. And the second one to get up to the generator. And he's going to spend his second activation to turn the thing on.
Can you with me standing here? Does that not stop you?
I think... No, you are just out of range to stop me from turning it off. Actually, no, neither of us are in range to turn the thing on. So I'm just in position to next turn potentially turn on the machine. So we're kind of just squaring off.
Okay, I cannot let that stand. So Mr. Navis Axe Jack is going to advance around. And he's going to swing his power weapon in the face of that Skin Cutter man. Requires 3s to hit you. So that is 3. That was 3. And 1 miss.
And I better see what I need to actually hit him in return.
I've got a special weapon called Lethal 5+.
That sounds good.
I think it sounds good, yeah, and I got a 5+, so...
So checking through the rules, lethal 5+ means that instead of rolling a crit on a 6+, you roll a crit on a 5+.
So that's a crit, beautiful.
My Kroot Skin Cutter, wherever he's gone to, here we go, Cut Skin, I was close enough. Has 4 attacks, and he is also lethal in combat on 5+.
It's pretty good.
So 4 attacks hitting on 3s in return. And so let's see what I can do to match you.
So you got 3 crits on a hit.
Yeah.
So we've got to do that whole, do you want to cancel each other out malark?
Yep.
And I just don't.
You just want to punch me in the face?
I don't care, I'm going straight through.
So you can allocate your attacks 1 by 1. So your first one for your crit, I assume, goes straight through.
Yeah.
I will spend 1 to negate one of yours.
That's nice. And that goes straight through.
And then
you're beheaded, you've taken 10 wounds.
Cool. And then you take 3 crits to the face as well, which does...
My guess is with your Cut Shaper, it's 12 damage. So we're both dead.
That's number 1.
So the heavy gunner is going to try and plink some wounds off of the shielded heavy shotgun wielder, because those 10 wounds kind of scare me a little bit. So he fires 5 shots with his Tribalist, hitting on 4s. And that is going to be a grand total of 2 hits and 2 crits.
2 hits and 2 crits, so that's kind of terrifying. I get my 3 defense dice. I get to subtract 1 immediately because of
cover.
I'm in cover. And then I'm praying for 6s here. So I get 2 5s, which will cancel out one of them, but not. So 2 crits go through.
And each of those do 4 damage each.
So unfortunately, even this... Wait, was it this guy?
It was this guy here.
Hold on, let me go back to my dice here. Oh no, the 2 crits will still go through. So that's the problem with this. He's got a 2+ save, but crits will still cut through him. So all of his wounds have been lost via crits. So my biggest, toughest dude has now been smashed aside.
And that's making this corridor look a little bit more secure for me.
You've got 2 corridors where I've only got 1 dude left, and you've got 3 Kroot in each. I've managed to take 1 corridor, but the rest of the station I think is yours.
I think I might just be able to, you know, pincer movement and sneak in around the corners, around the way, and be like, hello.
You got 2 turns left, so I hope you can manage that.
Let's find out.
So activating my boss man, he's going to move up to this position, and he's going to turn on the piece of machinery to give myself another point of objectiveness.
So that brings you to a grand total of 3.
Yeah.
I'm going to take advantage there of the activation. I'm going to activate this guy. My pistolier is going to slink up here, ready for next turn to hopefully spin around the corner and blast him in the face with dual pistols. Which then brings you to your last activation, I believe.
Which is my RC car activating that piece of machinery.
So bringing you to a grand total of 4 victory points to my 0 so far.
So I've got my 4 here and you'll have 0 here.
Okay, so for my activation I'm going to spend 1 point to turn on the first machine in this corridor, which is going to give me 1 activation point.
I'm going to give you this horrible chaos black dice because that's what you deserve.
Oh, thanks.
1 point for you.
Cheers, buddy. And I'm going to spend the second one to have the cold blood. I don't think you can actually see the other dude. He can't, unfortunately. So I'm going to use that to instead have him move up the corridor into a better position, ready for next turn to try and take him down. So that ends his activation.
Okay, as I have no guys left to fight with, I get to now activate overwatches. So this guy turns around and pulls out his shotgun, aims it at this guy here and opens fire. I do believe I can see all of his base, so he's not going to be in cover because of the angles.
Yep.
So I am going to hit him. Now normally it would be 3 pluses in close range because it's overwatch, I'm -1. So it's 4s to hit you. I will definitely take those 2 hits and a crit.
That's pretty good.
On your poor guy.
So my Kroot warrior with his defense dice of 5. So I managed to negate the crit and negate 1 of them, but 1 still goes through.
So you take 3 damage.
So 3 damage. So he's currently unwounded, so that brings him down to a total of 5 wounds remaining. So then my last activation will be to have the Kroot shaper relocate himself to aid his comrades in this corridor and take aim at the last 2 remaining naval breachers. So he's going to draw his pulse rifle and he's going to fire off 4 shots from that, targeting the first of the 2 breachers. So not a bad roll at all. He does manage to find his mark with 3 of the shots, but no crits.
So I get to just take saves of 4 up, pass 1 and fail 2.
I think they are 3 damage apiece.
3 damage apiece, so I take 6 damage, I go down to 2.
Round 3. Fight!
So again, start of turn 3, we go into priority.
So I get a 1 and Dave gets a 4.
So again, I will take priority and I will press the advantage. So just taking the quick high overview of the battle as it stands. It's looking like the Kroot are starting to exert control pretty well over the central chambers of the Gallowdark. So hopefully this turn is just about mopping up the last few of the naval ratings. So we're going to go straight into our firefight, our first movement phase. Okay, so I'm going to start with activating my Pistolier. So he dives out John Woo style from cover and is going to use his second activation to fire his pistols point blank into the commander. So the pistols do 4 shots, hitting on 4s with 3 points of damage apiece. But because he is a gunslinger, he is lethal on 5+. So let's see what he can do. So 4 shots. Ooh, so 2 crits and 2 successful hits against the commander.
So that's worrying. So I'm going to see if I can save any. Why am I rolling that many dice? Pure cheating. So I managed to stop 1 of his normal dice. Does the 5, can I stop a 5 crit or does it count as a 6? I need a 6.
You need a 6 though.
Okay, so 1 normal goes through. So 2 crits, which are 4 apiece, which is 8, and 1 normal, which is 3, which means I lose 11 wounds. I think you literally just John Wooed around the corner and destroyed the Navy Sergeant at Arms.
I mean, I did say you John Wicked it by killing the dog.
That is now 6 Navy Breachers down and out.
Alrighty, things are starting to look all gravy for the Kroot. I wonder, do Kroot like gravy with all their meals? Imperial gravy.
Okay, so my activation for this turn, I'm going to start by activating both Navy Breachers at the same time, because that's how that works. I'm going to start with this guy. He is going to fly up here, aim his shotgun at this cretinous Xenos beast, and I'm going to open fire in short range with my 4 shotgun blasts, requiring 3s. Ooh, he didn't like that at all, so only 1 of them manages to go through.
Okay, so I get my 3 defense dice.
You do indeed.
Ooh, unfortunately doesn't manage to save any of them.
So 3 damage to your Kroot man.
So that brings him down to a grand total of 2 wounds remaining.
Beautiful.
So he is now wounded.
And that will finish off him, which means it's the next guy activates, which is this guy, which is just going to move point blank range and fire off onto his, same thing again. Of course he's -1 to hit now because he's at half strength. So these are 4s. He managed to get 2 crits with that.
Of course he does.
I'll take that. So you need 6s to stop him suffering like 50 wounds or something.
Would you look at that? Not a single 6.
So you take 6 more wounds.
Yeah, that's going to be very much a dead and splattered Kroot. So for my next activation, I'm going to have the Kroot Cold Blood is going to move out and around, line up the shot, and he's going to try and take down the Imperial Grenadier. Because the last thing I want to find out is what grenades do in close quarters. So the Cold Blood with his rifle fires, again, 4 shots, hitting on 3s. Okay, I was waiting on Dave Dice, and that was a really bad time for them to strike. Yeah. So I guess I'm going to find out what grenades do at short range after all.
They can put away and I put a shotgun up your nose.
That's also an option.
So this guy's turn to move, and he's going to fly up into this doorway here, and he's going to pull out his shotgun and see if he can do any serious damage to the boss of the Kroot. Let's see, 4 shots hitting on 3s. 3 of them find their mark.
Not so bad. So roll my 3 defense dice.
Jesus.
So managed to save 2 of them, but 1 of them does go through.
For 3 more damage.
Alrighty. That puts him down to 5 wounds remaining. Okay, so taking stock, I think it's time to start redeploying some of the Kroot. So I'm going to send the the heavy gunner, and he's going to head over to support the shaper, but of course he won't be able to get quite far enough to be able to fire off this turn, so hopefully next turn he'll be in range to either dive into the fight or do a bit of shooting.
So is this turn 3?
This is turn 3, so there's only 1 more turn remaining.
Which means he'll move and turn 4, which means he won't be able to shoot again.
Yeah, so I'm hoping he'll just dive forward and fight somebody.
Oh, he'll fight them in close call? Yeah, okay.
That's my thinking. So now it is over to Andy's next activation.
Okay, so the Novice Grenadier is finally going to toss his demolition charge at this Kroot that came around the corner trying to challenge him. So it's going to be 3s to hit him. So that is lots of explosions. So you get to try and stop that. 1 crit and 2 normal hits. Which are...
That's not exactly ideal, is it?
No. So you managed to stop the crit. Well done. You suffer 8 wounds.
I think a Kroot only has 8 wounds.
Yeah, you're literally paced all over the decking. And with my actual move now,
so he's going to 1-man army this thing, and
he's got this. He's going to sick of this junk. He's going to sort it all out. He's finished shooting. All these guys are dead. He's got this. He's a beast.
Alrighty then.
I like to think that he threw his demolition charge and then he started running.
Don't look back, don't look back, don't look back. So I'm going to move over to activate my Kroot Shaper, and he's going to try and take out one of the last remaining naval ratings. So he's going to fire off some shots from his pulse rifle. So hitting on 3s, he manages 2 hits and 1 crit.
Okay, so I will try and deflect them with my beautiful armor, which I managed to stop 1, so the crit goes through.
And that does 4 damage, which I think is going to be enough to put that naval rating down.
Oh, you're aiming at this guy, was it?
Aiming at that guy there.
Oh, sorry, yeah, so he is gone.
And then after he's done that, I'm going to use his last point of movement to step back from the corridor, so he is able to claim a little bit of cover.
So he's being a chicken. I suppose he is a big giant chicken, isn't he?
And that is over to you for your next activation.
So I think I'm out of activation, so it's time for me to fire Overwatch.
Well, you still got your little Orsi card.
Oh yeah. So that has a movement of 8.
Mm-hmm.
So that will just go. Meow.
It's literally just running around, turning on all the buttons.
Yeah, man, that's what its job is. It's like a little drone, do fixing everything. It's doing its job, man.
So for my next activation, I'm going to have this Kroot turn on the machine. So that'll give me an additional victory point, which I kind of badly need at this stage. And then I'm going to have him move around towards the door, getting ready to pile into the next corridor, which will just get into here. And then it is over to Andy to start his overwatching now.
Okay, so I'm going to overwatch with this breacher here. So I would be in short range as I'm within. So normally it would be 3s to hit, so it's going to be 4s because of this. So I get 1 crit on the gunslinger. So
3 defense dice. Doesn't manage to roll the required crit. So how much damage does that do to the gunslinger?
you take 3 damage.
So that leaves him on a 5 wounds remaining. Alright. So then over here I'm going to have the bowcaster armed guy. He's going to turn on the machine, and then he's going to move from cover there to the far side here and hopefully line up a shot for next turn on the demolition charge armed dude.
It's always good to point the correct way. Okay, so my next Overwatch activation moment is this armsman here firing a shotgun through the door and trying to clip the Shaper. It's going to be a risky shot, but he's going to go for it anyway. He is within short range. So he manages to get 1 successful wound, which will be completely ignored because Dave is in cover.
Yep.
So one of them will just count as defense. So he dowed nothing.
So, and then my last activation will be for my sniper rifle armed Kroot to bail into the corridor, because I remembered that there is actually some points to be had for claiming corridors at the end of the row. So he's going to go there, and just because I'm not completely psychotic, I'll have him move to take up line of sight on the corridor. So if anything comes through that corridor, you've got a nice line of sight just to pop it in the dome. So again, at the end of turn 3, 1 corridor is fairly well secured for the Kroot. The middle corridor has just the armsman holding it with his grenades. Of course, he's out of his grenade now, having vaporized my pistolier with it. And then in the top corridor, we still have 2 naval ratings and the RC car running around turning on all the machines, with the remaining 2 Kroot ready to barrel through the door and hopefully take them down.
Final round. Fight!
So we move on to the final priority of the game to see who is going to get the initiative going into this turn.
Do you think I'll win 1 priority for this game? Well, if you can't even hit the board, that should be good for me. Damn it!
Okay, so first activation, we're going to send the John Woo Kroot around the corner so that Andy doesn't get the benefit of cover, and I'm going to fire off 4 shots from my dual pistols to hopefully again knock the last of these grenadiers on their ass. So he is lethal on 5s, but I think he's only hitting on 4s normally, unfortunately.
No, I think he's hitting... Oh no, he has 4s, so you miss with everything.
Not good at all.
I shall take this, thank you very much.
That's not what I wanted to happen.
I'm okay with it.
I thought you might be.
Okay, so I'm going to start with this guy who's going to stand here, peek around the corner, and blast the Kroot Shaper, hopefully clearing him off. I would have a great sense of joy if I took down his leader. So this is close range, so up your beaked nose. So 3s. So I will take 3 hits from you, so you get your 5-up save times 3.
Alrighty.
Try and save yourself.
Keep him in the fight.
He takes 6 wounds.
That is not going to be enough to keep him in the fight, unfortunately, so that is the Kroot Shaper taken down.
I will take that as a victory for me there.
That is a pretty solid victory, to be fair. So for my activation though, I think what I'm going to have to try and do is I'm going to send the heavy gunner into combat with the guy across the doorway to try and contest that particular corridor. So not sure if I'll be able to do it, but I'm going to chance the arm. So I'm going to have him swing out with his blades and try and take that guy down. So the heavy gunner gets...
he still has blades, he's got 3 attacks, hitting on 3s with 3 and 4 as his profile.
So let's see what we can do here. So we roll that one. So it manages 2 hits, no crits.
2 hits, no crits, okay, and my returning stabbiness from my RC driver, who's the novice surveyor. He's got his hatchet, so he's got his 3 attacks, hitting on 4s. He gets 1 crit.
Okay, so I'm going to just go straight for everything straight in.
I'll do the same, so we go straight in. I do 4 damage to you.
Okay, and I think I do 6 points of damage to your guy.
Blades, yeah, 6 damage, yep.
So 3 for 6, so both of us fairly wounded, but neither one taken out of the fight.
I go down to 2.
And I go down to 5. And then it is over to Andy's next activation.
So I'm going to move first with this guy. So he's going to take 6 and he's going to go to here. And then he's going to blast you in the back with a shotgun. And see if I can do any serious damage to the duelist. So 3s. No, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, that's not what I want to see.
So 2 crits and 2 normal hits.
Yeah, okay, so
You have 3 saves?
I have 3 saves, so
He's literally smeared.
he is pasted against the
Just
wall.
took 12 wounds.
Okay, so then over here I'm going to have the bowcaster dive around the corner and fire his shots into the naval rating. So again, firing his, I think it's 3 shots he fires at that? Or
Yeah, he's got a pretty terrible, well, he's got a million different arrows to choose from, which I still can't understand why he would choose anything other than the first one, because it's just a better profile. Although one has splash 2 and one has silent, whatever they mean.
Yeah.
So you've got 4 shots hitting on 4s, and then crit is 4 or 5.
So we're going to go for that. So 4 shots hitting on 4s.
So 2 of them managed to find their mark. I'm going to go for my 3 defensey dice. I wonder, does he have better armor because he's got the bomb suit on? That would kind of make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah, his big hurt
He's got a
locker suit of
yeah,
armor.
he's got a big hurt locker suit of armor. I wonder, does that change anything? No, 4 save. So, okay. So I just need 2 successes here to save myself. I manage 1, so he takes 1 of your wounds, which is what, 3? 4?
4, I believe it does. 4 and 5.
4, so I take 4 wounds.
So he was unwounded, so he's fine. So he will survive to the end of the game. And that is all of his activations. He brings 2 wounds over.
This is where you made the horrible mistake that you left him out in the open with your, what, 2 wounds left?
Yeah.
And I get an overwatch and I blast him out and take that corridor. Thanks.
I mean, you did say that, but then I also have a dude here who hasn't moved, so I know what I'm going to be doing next with my next activation afterwards.
Let's hope you can make it. So I obviously cannot shoot this guy, so I'm going to move up, block the corridor, and swing one of my boarding hatchets at him. Okay, so I'm going to go in with my 4s to hit to start it off, and I get 1 crit.
And then I roll off with my Kroot dude hitting on 3s, and I get 1 hit.
So I'm just going to let it go through, so I cause 4 damage to you.
Cool. And I'm going to do the same, let my one go through, and that does, I think, 3 wounds. My dude had taken 3 wounds already, so he is on 1 wound remaining.
Oh no, like I said, I took 3, so I'm down to 5.
Yeah. Brings me on to my next activation. Andy might have played his hand a little bit too quickly there, so I'm going to have this guy move up to the next corridor, and then I'm going to have him dash in here, just in case this guy, when he decides to start overwatching, ends up blowing this guy away. Because I don't feel confident when there are shotguns to be played.
Just using my activation to activate the RC card to claim another victory point. So far, the thing in this game that has claimed the most victory points so far is this guy.
Yeah, it actually is.
Some sort of god.
And then that brings me on to my, I think, final activation. Looking over the board, it is indeed. And it's just going to be the sniper, who can't actually do anything, so he's just going to essentially end his turn.
It'd be really cool if he ended it out in that corridor over there, so we could keep Overwatch down the corridor.
Yeah, and give away that particular point for control points.
It's actually 2 points, but yeah.
2 points though. So I think that brings that to a close. So starting sort of from the top down. So Andy's naval ratings have secured and are holding the last Kroot at the door, literally battering him back. He's down on his last wound. So Andy controls the first corridor and has turned on all the machines in that corridor. In the next one, the Kroot have managed to just dive into control. So because we have more dudes with more activation points in this corridor, the Kroot control this particular corridor. And the bottom one, this is uncontested apart from the sniper, who thinks he's really helping but hasn't actually done all that much all game.
So to finish off with the dice, these are the amount of objectives that I claim by turning on machines. Plus I hold 2 corridor, or 1 corridor, which gives me 2 points. David's secured 3 machines, but has 2 corridors. So our victory points are exactly the same. So it is a draw currently for the first game in our Into the Dark / Gallo Dark Battle Report series.
So pretty fair result.
I think it was pretty fair. And to be honest, I enjoyed that game a lot more than I thought it was going to. So Kill Team gets a big thumbs up for me.
And a big thumbs up for me.
And we will of course be continuing on, because as of the day of recording this, we actually already have a copy of the next Kill Team, the Shadow Vaults box set, which has the new Karsakin and the new Necron Kill Teams in it. So we'll be getting those painted up as well. And of course, continuing on our journey through the Gallo Dark, through those lumbering halls. So I'm kind of hoping there's missions in the box where you like push both sets together, so you have a really big set. Then every time an expansion comes out, the Gallo Dark just gets bigger and bigger and more intimidating.
Yeah.
But then I learned that there's only 4 turns in a game of Kill Team, so you never find each other by the time the fight happened.
Just going down the dark hallways and all you just hear is just clicking behind you. It's like,
Yeah.
the Kroot have found me and I'm on my own.
Open
Light
fire!
fall.
No, 4 turns are up, pal. It's time to go home. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye. Yeah, okay.
Same time next week.